Mary and Dave here for our weekly Oracle Tarot reading forecast for the week October 11th to October 18th. Yes. And the way it works is that you landed here that the reading of the message is intended for you regardless of the date, because that's the way spirit guides work. And if you're interested in getting something more personalized, more in depth, something specifically for you, please visit our website. The links are below to book, schedule your reading right there on the spot. And yeah, it'll calculate your time zone, our time zone, and yeah, show the availability as well. Okay, so the cards that we're working with are the Zombie Tarot.
Ooh.
Love the theme of that, especially we're during Halloween season, and Spellcasting Oracle. Yeah, I love these cards, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and use this deck today because Zombie Tarot's for myself, but you know, I'm gonna actually put it out here. So I have not shuffled the cards or asked the question like we usually do. Dave gave me that idea earlier to let's just pick the cards while we're doing the reading.
We used to do it the other way to save time,
Yeah.
so you don't have to watch us shuffle.
It's funny, we just did a reading just now. We were filming just now, and I forgot to hit record, but this is the one that was
We're
meant.
shuffling the
Yes. Okay. So I'm asking the question, what do we all need to know? What do we all need to know? What do we all need to know? Everybody watching this. So if you stay for the whole shuffle, it's meant for you. Okay, what do we all need to know? Okay. Okay, I cut them in three, and then I'm just going to flip them over. We got 10 of Wands, King of Cups, and the 5 of Wands. Okay, and for the spell casting, here we go. Oh, Courage. That's a pretty card. Okay, so 10 of Wands is a burden. You're feeling very burdened. You feel like you are climbing the mountain, but you need to look at the mountain that you've already climbed, not at what's up ahead that you have to climb. Like when you put that in your mind, and that makes total sense. You know, I have to say that this really relates to what I was going through earlier. You know, when I filmed it, I have to admit, when I film these videos, sometimes it's really hard to get into the gear. It's just getting into the gear. It's like, you know, the hardest part is getting out the door, you know, kind of thing. It's just, and the energy of it is just like, you feel like to get yourself moving, you feel like there's just so much pressure. You've been feeling very pressured. And when you feel pressured like that, it's a resistance. And the resistance is actually something that your mind is only making up. And that is a burden. It's like a weight on your shoulders. It's feeling heavy. You know, I know the card looks very gruesome, but you know what? It's just actually saying that you're tearing yourself apart, if you notice that. So what do you see about that, Dave?
Well, the 10 of Wands is exactly what Mary said. It's feeling like you're burdened. Something's weighing you down in terms of day-to-day activities. The number 10, a slightly different meaning that sometimes comes through with this card, because it's the number 10, it's the end of a cycle. So it also means that you can put that burden down if you choose, if that's the appropriate thing to do, or you just need to keep going a little bit further until you're able to put it down, because you've reached sort of the goal line, so to speak. You've completed whatever it is that is creating that weight and that feeling of burden.
Yeah, that's true. You got to ask yourself, do I really feel like doing this, or do I really just, is it just my mind? It's like, you know.
Yeah, and sometimes actually it might be appropriate to finish, to follow through. And
yeah.
A lot of times though, maybe
it's worth it. I always say it's worth it. What is your future self going to tell you? Okay. King of Cups. Okay. I'm just going to show you this card. And they're funny. I love them. They're novelty cards, but they're tarot cards and they're beautiful, and I had to have them. You know, and what it represents is that he's a very emotional person. The King of Cups is, the energy of the King of Cups is someone, I always see this as somebody taking a little bit of emotionals over. It's a nurturing card, but the energy I'm seeing of it, and this is what my mind is seeing it, it's more of not overthinking, being over emotional, and what's the word I'm looking for? Just feeling over, like you're just allowing yourself just for your emotions to take over. I think I repeated that. It's kind of like becoming more in touch with the way things are supposed to be. And it's just, I don't know, I just keep looking at it. It's very dreamy, very imaginative. What do you see about that, Dave? Because there's a lot. It could represent a person to me too.
yeah, this could be somebody in your life who's a counselor, in the role of a counselor, or maybe you're in the role of a counselor, or sort of the wise one, so to speak. But it can also be the events and the way, that can be the way you need to be, is to be a counselor and a wise one right now. But events are requiring, whatever is going on right now, you need to be able to go deeper with your emotions, have more emotional intelligence. The King of Cups has the most emotional, in the positive sense, has the most emotional intelligence of any of the court cards, any of the stereotypes of the kings or queens, well, except for maybe the queen. But he has a lot of emotional intelligence, able to go very deep, understand people and their motivations and their connections without getting overwhelmed by the emotions. This is in the positive. And you can see he's wearing a uniform here, so he's a leader at this, and he's on his throne. He's very comfortable there in the water, in the feelings, in the emotions, and he can really help nurture the people around him. And in the negative, of course, it's what Mary said.
Emotionally lazy.
Depending, you might be feeling overwhelmed with emotions, but you have the ability to rise above them and to be able to put them in perspective and to be comfortable with them.
Yeah, I like what you said.
And to help others with that.
Comfortable. Somebody that's just a little too comfortable. You might be waiting for someone to come forward, someone to be more affectionate, someone to show their emotions. I feel like my microphone's
It
falling
might
off.
be someone. Go ahead. Babe.
No,
Sorry,
no, that's okay. No, it's like somebody being very emotional, but emotionally lazy at the same time. Like just more of like they're really showing a behavior issue of not expressing how they truly feel. Like somebody is just becoming very stuck in their own head a little bit too much. And I just see it as someone that, like Dave said, it's just somebody that's getting too comfortable. They're
Well,
not
I didn't
making.
say that. But
I know you didn't say. No, you said somebody just being
I
comfortable.
said they're actually.
You said one word, and that just
Yeah.
triggered me
Yeah.
when I just triggered an energy when you said comfortable. He does look comfortable. He does.
But I'm
Very comfortable.
But I didn't mean that. I think
No, I
we're
know you
saying
did.
two different things.
You didn't say
and that's
that.
fine. It's
no,
good.
That's
good
it's for
because-
whoever's watching. That's why
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
two of us doing the reading because what I was saying is, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
okay.
but the getting too comfortable, that's what this person is. And so maybe you have to shake the ground. Somebody in your life is becoming a little too comfortable and they're not stepping up on the plate. And maybe it's you, but whoever it is, you have to know that you got this. You really do. All you have to do is just get out of the water. As you can see, he just needs to stand up. He's not all the way in the water, but he's halfway. He's 3/4 of the way.
Which I see that it's interesting how different people interpret the court cards differently. And even when you look through like the many tarot books that are out on the market, and you see different people's interpretations of the different court cards and how some people have a bit of a bias towards putting that certain court card in its more of a negative way, and other people will have a bias to putting it more in a positive way. For me, my bias on the King of Cups is more positive. I don't see it like Mary is.
I just saw it a little bit as reversed almost.
But I'm not contradicting
No, I know
what
you're
saying
not.
at all.
I know, but today I said
Because there are both sides to every card.
Right.
But I'm just seeing, to me, the potential of the King of Cups is somebody who's mastered the emotional life of the human
Sure,
being.
that's
what I see here, is somebody who's actually has a mastery over the emotional life. And that's why they're comfortable in the water, because the other people can't go that deep. They can't, he's in his element.
He's the king.
So
He's the king.
that's
king
just
of
how I
cups.
see it, though. That's my.
Well, he is the king, so yeah. And the third card is the Five of Wands, and I know you're probably wondering, well, why is she using that deck? I know it's called the Zombie Tarot, and they're supposed to look like that. It's actually different opinions. They're not agreeing with each other. They're basically the Five of Wands is disagreements or just having a struggle, but at the same time trying to get your point across. It relates to someone seeing someone seeing something different in the other. It's kind of like what we were talking about the King of Cups, but we weren't struggling a bit. But you know what I'm saying is like you saw something about it and I saw something different, and so it's kind of like blending them both together. So that's the message right there. Somebody in your life you might be going through the same thing, and you might be having maybe a disagreement with that person, and feeling very discouraged, or you might be just struggling. You might be just finding, why is it such a challenge for me to get over this? Why is it such a challenge for me to let go? Why is it such a challenge for me to move on? Like, you might be feeling that, or to accomplish that, or to, like, something is just a bit of a struggle, right?
Yes, exactly. What I'm getting is along the lines of what Mary said. The message coming through is that in the upcoming week, just think of timing, because maybe there's an opinion or an idea that you have that you want to present to others, whether that's your partner or spouse or family or people you work with, friends, co-workers, people you do projects with, or whatever. You've got an idea or opinions that you want to present on how you would like to approach something, but now's not the time that you're going to be heard, because there's just going to be too many conflicting energies going on. So rather than waste your energy trying to force yourself to be heard, maybe right now is a time to just keep those ideas and thoughts to yourself for now, and you'll see it later on, as maybe next week or toward the end of the week. You'll get the sense that people are more receptive, and the timing's better to present your idea, that it'll be received and be heard. But right now it's saying it might not be the best time to try to get your ideas across to some people.
Yeah. I like that. I like the way you explained that. Yeah, because it's for what's to come up, right? And makes a lot of sense too.
It's also speed bumps too. Like,
yes.
Like those days when you have to go somewhere, you have an appointment, you're on your way out the door, but just when you're on your way out, the phone rings. I guess that's old school. Nobody answers the phone anymore. But, or something happens where you realize you forgot something, you have to run back in and get it. And then, your cat knocks over a dish and breaks it on the floor. So you have to pick it up before you leave. And then you leave and something's wrong with somebody's blocking your driveway and you can't get out. Like, it's like just these little speed bumps and minor obstacles can be in your way. So just realize not to get frustrated and just not to fight it, to go with the flow. It's always best to go with the flow, and don't let your mind take over and say it's the end of the world, because it's not.
That's right. Because when has anything happened that is like, when have you been successful struggling and going over those speed bumps, and you're just like passing that other person on the road, and you're just racing to get to the red light.
Right. Yeah, so many people pass us, they just shoot by us, like they're going at least 20, 30 miles an hour faster than we are, and then we see them at the red light. We pull up behind them at the next red light.
And we all arrive at the same time, right? So, and that's what the Spellcaster's Oracle is: courage. So have the courage to be able to be the bigger person, and to know your limits, to know that, letting go and just going with the flow, because that takes a lot of courage. To go with the flow takes a lot of courage. Because it's very tempting to do it a different way. It's very tempting not to do nothing. When I say the word tempting, I mean it's like easier to just not do anything and just procrastinate. So find the courage inside of yourself, right?
Absolutely. You said it perfectly. Letting go a bit more of the grip of trying to control everything and going with the flow requires courage, because then you're tapping into your higher power, or a higher power, so to speak. You're tapping into more energy of the universe, and that requires getting yourself out of the way a little bit, which your ego doesn't want to do that. So it requires courage, and it is courage, because that's what is, like, courage is not from the mind, it's from beyond the mind anyways. So you kind of need to already, just by being willing to let go and go with the flow a bit more, you're already tapping into that courage. And by the way, if you do, everyone's wired differently. So if you do like to drive a little faster, everyone's got some people I know have a lead foot. My mother has a lead foot, so she's like 83 years old. So it's all good if that's how you're wired,
Well, just think about your insurance rates going up, and you don't mind getting pulled over.
As long as you're not stressed. I just like to be a little more on the chilled out side when I drive, because there's so much traffic in this city. So I don't like to drive
fast. No, that's true. I like to just go with it. Yeah. So
anyway,
to sum this up all in a nutshell, right here, it just says that things have been a bit shaky and things have been very heavy, and there's been a lot of, like, I'm just putting it all together. So what you need to do is, you know, spend time with just going forward and not worrying about what your mind is making up, and just know what's on the goal. What's your goal? Like, write it down and just say, okay, this is what I set out for myself, and this is what I would like to do and I like to accomplish. Have the courage, find the courage inside, and trust and know that you got this, because you do. You have it. You have everything you need to make this work. You do. Don't look at yesterday. Don't look at what happened yesterday, because if you do, you're just gonna be right back to square one. So just merge ahead, you know, right?
Yeah, exactly. The way you're here, you exist. You might as well tap into the courage, have the courage to be yourself, and have the courage to face life as best you can.
Yeah.
You might as well. You're here.
Yeah. So I hope that this reading and this message was helpful for you. And until the next video, we wish you peace, blessings, love, and light.
Thanks for watching.